The night Min-jae chose Scarlett over me, I had chemotherapy burns on my arms, hospital discharge papers in my purse, and a wedding ring he hadn't looked at in 8 months. His private lounge at the Lotus Club, the one where Seoul's most dangerous men made deals no one talked about. I knew I shouldn't go. The chemo session had ended 6 hours ago. I could still taste the metallic bitterness in my mouth, still feel the IV burn in my veins, but I needed to tell him. About the surgery scheduled for next month, about how the doctors said I needed someone with me during recovery. I wore a silk scarf to hide my thinning hair, makeup to cover the grey pallor, a long-sleeved dress to hide the bruises from failed IV attempts. I walked into his private room and stopped. Min-jae was on the black leather couch, expensive whiskey on the table, ambient lighting making everything look cinematic. Scarlett was on his lap, red dress, long dark hair, perfect skin. Everything I used to be before the cancer started eating me alive. His hand was on her waist, possessive, comfortable. They both saw me. Neither moved. For 5 seconds, the only sound was the jazz music playing softly from hidden speakers. Then Min-jae spoke. Simone. His voice was cold, annoyed, like I'd interrupted something important. I told you not to come here tonight. Not, are you okay? Not, how was treatment? Just irritation. My legs felt weak, not from shock. From the poison they'd pumped into my veins to kill the thing trying to kill me. Scarlett smiled. Slow, deliberate, cruel. She tilted her head, looking at me like I was a stray dog who'd wandered into a Michelin-star restaurant. Oh, she purred. The wife. She said it the way you'd say expired milk or yesterday's trash. Min-jae didn't defend me, didn't move her off his lap, didn't even look uncomfortable. He just poured her more wine. I stood there, hospital band still on my wrist under my sleeve, appointment reminder card in my purse. I needed to tell you something. My voice was quieter than I wanted. The chemo always left me weak, shaky. Not now. He didn't even look at me. I'm busy. Scarlett laughed. A light tinkling sound that made my skin crawl. She leaned closer to him, whispered something in his ear. He smiled. At her, not at me. I hadn't seen him smile at me in a year. That's when I realized the truth. He didn't care that I was dying. He cared that I was no longer beautiful enough, strong enough, vibrant enough to stand beside him at events where image was everything. I looked at the man I'd married 3 years ago. The dangerous Seoul businessman everyone feared, the man whose logistics empire moved more than cargo, the man whose illegal operations I'd helped legitimize using my father's political connections in Washington, the man who used to hold me like I was precious. Now, he held her, and I was nothing. I turned to leave. Simone. His voice stopped me. I looked back. Hope. Stupid, desperate hope. Close the door on your way out. We don't need the staff hearing everything. The door clicked shut behind me. I made it to the elevator before my legs gave out. If you believe betrayal hurts deepest when someone is already fighting to survive, subscribe now. Because what he discovered after I vanished destroyed everything he built. Scarlett moved into our penthouse 2 weeks later. Min-jae didn't ask me, didn't discuss it, didn't even have the decency to lie about it. He just replaced me. I came home from a chemo session on a Wednesday afternoon, exhausted, nauseated, barely able to stand. Her designer luggage was in the foyer. Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Hermes, lined up like soldiers claiming territory. I walked into the living room. She was redecorating. My books, first editions I'd collected for years, were in boxes marked, Donate. My grandmother's throw pillows were gone. My photos with Min-jae had been replaced with modern art I'd never seen before. Scarlett stood in the center of it all, directing 2 interior designers like a general commanding troops. She saw me, smiled. Simone! Perfect timing. I wanted to ask you, do you mind if I take the master bedroom? Min-jae said you've been sleeping in the guest room anyway, so I thought... She trailed off. fake concern dripping from every word. I was too tired to fight. The chemo made everything feel distant, foggy, like I was watching my life happen to someone else. It's fine. Oh, good, she clapped her hands together. I already started moving my things in. I hope you don't mind. Min-jae gave me his card. Unlimited. Can you believe it? So I've been shopping. You know how it is. I didn't know. Min-jae had cut my credit limit 3 months ago, said I was spending too much on unnecessary medical expenses. Scarlett kept talking. I'm thinking we'll do a complete renovation. This place is so dated. Very corporate wife. I want something more modern, more alive. She looked at me when she said alive. Let it hang there, like I was already dead. Over the next week, I watched her erase me. She threw out my favourite mug, the one Min-jae had bought me on our honeymoon in Jeju Island. She replaced my toiletries in the bathroom with her luxury brands. She laughed loudly in the master bedroom. With him. At night, making sure I could hear through the walls. I spent most days in the small guest room. Hospital appointments 3 times a week. Radiation burns on my chest, hair falling out in clumps. One morning I was in the kitchen, trying to make tea, hands shaking from the medication. Scarlett walked in, perfect makeup, perfect hair, silk robe. She looked at me, really looked. At my thin frame, my pale skin, the scarf covering my bald head. You know, she said, leaning against the counter, Min-jae told me something interesting last night. I didn't respond. He said you're depressing to be around, that coming home feels like walking into a funeral. She poured herself coffee, took a slow sip. He asked me to tell you something, since he doesn't want to deal with the emotional fallout. I stared at her. He wants you to move out by Friday. The words hit like a physical blow. He said you can take whatever you need. He'll keep paying your medical bills. He's not cruel. But he needs space. We need space. She smiled, gentle, kind, poisonous. You understand, don't you? You're just bringing the energy down. I wanted to scream, to throw the teacup, to tell her I was dying and she was celebrating. But I didn't. I just nodded. She left. I stood there in my own kitchen. Hospital band on my wrist from yesterday's blood draw. Treatment schedule in my purse. The man I loved wanted me gone because watching me fight cancer was inconvenient. That's when I made the decision I would disappear, but not the way they expected, not broken, not begging. I would vanish completely and take everything he needed to survive with me. I stopped trying after that conversation. No more leaving hospital bills on the counter hoping he'd notice. No more mentioning treatment schedules. No more waiting up when he came home late smelling like her perfume. Instead, I started planning. Quietly. Carefully. Methodically. Min-jae thought I was just the American wife, the senator's daughter he'd married for political connections, the pretty face at charity galas. He forgot I had a law degree from Georgetown. He forgot I'd helped structure every major deal in his empire. He forgot I knew where all the bodies were buried, literally and financially. I started going through our files, late at night, when he was with her, when they thought I was sleeping or too sick to care. Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, shell corporations in Delaware, money laundering routes through legitimate businesses. All the illegal infrastructure I'd helped him build using my family's connections. My father, Senator Raymond Cross, controlled half of Washington's financial oversight committees. For 3 years, I'd used those connections to protect Min-jae. Every time the FBI got close, I made calls, buried evidence, redirected investigations. I did it because I loved him. I thought he loved me too. I was wrong. I found the file in his private office. Operation Quantum Logistics. Federal investigation. Money laundering. Racketeering. International trafficking. The case had been frozen for 2 years. Because of me. Because my father made one phone call to the right person. I photographed everything. Every account number. Every shell company. Every illegal transaction. Then I called my father. It was 2 a.m. He answered on the first ring. Simone, what's wrong? Dad, My voice cracked. I need help. What happened? He chose someone else. While I'm sick. While I'm dying. Silence. Then my father's voice. Cold. Dangerous. The voice that made politicians and billionaires nervous. Come home, Simone. Come home right now. What about, I'll handle it, all of it. Just come home. I didn't tell Min-jae. I just started moving files, copying documents, transferring evidence to encrypted drives, everything he needed to stay out of federal prison. I had it, and I was about to give it all to the people who wanted to destroy him. Min-jae never understood real power. He thought power was violence, intimidation, security teams with guns, backroom deals with dangerous men. He didn't understand that real power was quiet, legislative power, political power, the kind that didn't announce itself. My father, Senator Raymond Cross, didn't just sit on financial oversight committees. He chaired them. He decided which investigations moved forward and which ones disappeared. For 3 years, I'd been the bridge between Min-jae's criminal empire and my father's political protection. Min-jae's logistics company moved illegal cargo, laundered money, operated in the shadows. But it stayed in the shadows because I kept the light away. Every time federal agents got close, I made one call. Dad, they're looking at quantum logistics again. Consider it handled. And it was. Investigations stalled. Evidence disappeared. Witnesses became uncooperative. Min-jae thought he was untouchable because he was smart. He was untouchable because I made him untouchable. And he never knew. He never asked why federal heat always mysteriously cooled down. He never wondered why his competitors got raided, but he didn't. He just assumed he was better, smarter, more careful. I found the proof in his safe, documents showing just how close the FBI had been, wiretaps, surveillance photos, financial audits. All of it stopped 2 years ago, right after I called my father. I took pictures of everything. Then I sent them to my father with one message. Unfreeze Operation Quantum. Let them have everything. His response came immediately. Are you sure? Yes. It will destroy him. Good. 3 minutes later. Done. Come home. Now. I stared at my phone. With one text, I'd just removed the only protection keeping Min-jae's empire standing. Within days, federal agents would have everything, and Min-jae would finally understand. The woman he'd thrown away while she was dying. She was the only thing keeping him free. I left on a Thursday. 3:47 a.m. The penthouse was silent. Scarlett was asleep in my bed. Min-jae was in Tokyo closing a deal. Perfect timing. I'd been planning this for 2 weeks. 1 suitcase, that's all I took. Clothes, medication, my grandmother's necklace. The leather journal Min-jae gave me on our first anniversary, back when he still remembered I existed. I walked through the penthouse one last time, the living room where we used to watch movies, where he'd pull me close and kiss my hair. The kitchen where we'd cooked breakfast together on Sundays. The balcony where he'd proposed with Seoul's skyline glittering behind him. 3 years of my life. All of it gone. Erased by a woman who looked better in photographs. I stopped at the kitchen counter, placed my wedding ring there. Next to it, I left the hospital appointment card he'd never asked about. The one that said oncology, stage 3, surgery consultation. I didn't leave a note. What was there to say? That I was dying and he chose someone who wasn't? He already knew. He just didn't care. I called the private car service my father had arranged. Not one of Min-jae's drivers. Not anyone connected to his world. The driver arrived exactly on time. Professional, discreet, paid to ask no questions. I took one last look at the penthouse. The home that had stopped feeling like home the moment Scarlett moved in. Then I left. The elevator doors closed. I didn't cry. I was too tired to cry. The chemo, the betrayal, the humiliation. It had already taken everything. The car drove through Seoul's empty streets, past the Lotus Club where I'd watched him choose her, past the hospital where I'd spent the last 8 months fighting alone, past the life I was leaving behind. We arrived at Gimpo Airport. private terminal, my father's plane waiting on the tarmac. The pilot greeted me. "Miss Cross? Welcome aboard." Cross, not Kang. My maiden name. I was Simone Cross again. The plane lifted off at 5:23 a.m. Seoul disappeared below the clouds. By sunrise, I was over the Pacific Ocean, heading to Washington, D.C., to my father's estate, to safety, to the life Min-jae didn't know I still had access to. Min-jae still thought I was crying somewhere in Seoul, waiting for him to call. He didn't know I'd already crossed the one line he could never force me back over. I was done being the wife he forgot. I was done protecting the man who didn't protect me. And most importantly, I was done dying alone while he celebrated with someone else. Min-jae came home Sunday night, 10:47 p.m. Direct flight from Tokyo. He walked into the penthouse. Scarlett was in the living room, wineglass in hand, shopping bags from her latest spree. "How was Tokyo?" she asked. "Fine. Where's Simone?" Scarlett shrugged. "Haven't seen her. She's probably in her room. You know how she is, always hiding." Min-jae dropped his briefcase, loosened his tie. "Simone?" No answer. He walked to the guest room, opened the door. Empty. Closet empty. Bathroom empty. Dresser drawers open and cleared out. He checked the master bedroom, his office, the kitchen. Nothing. "When did you last see her?" Scarlett thought about it. "Thursday? Maybe Friday? I don't really keep track." Min-jae pulled out his phone, called her. "The number you have dialed is no longer in service." He called again. Same message. He called his head of security. "Find my wife, now." "Yes, sir." By Monday morning, his men had searched everywhere. Hospitals, hotels, friends' apartments, her college roommate, her favorite cafe, the bookstore she loved. Nothing. No credit card activity, no phone pings, no security footage. Gone. "She's being dramatic," Scarlett said Monday afternoon. She was getting a manicure in the living room. Professional nail artist working while she scrolled through Instagram. "She'll come back. Where else would she go?" Min-jae wanted to believe her, but something felt wrong. Tuesday morning, he walked into the kitchen, saw it on the counter, her wedding ring. Sitting there, alone, final. Next to it, a hospital appointment card he'd never seen before. Seoul National University Hospital, Oncology Department, Stage 3 consultation, surgery evaluation. He picked it up, read it again. Oncology. Stage 3. Surgery. The date was from 2 months ago. His hands started shaking. "What is this?" he asked Scarlett. She glanced at it. "Oh, that. Yeah, she kept leaving those around. I threw most of them away. They were depressing." "You threw them away?" "Well, yeah. You said you didn't want to deal with her medical drama." Min-jae stared at her. "I never said that. You implied it." By Wednesday, his lawyer called. "Sir, we have a serious problem." "What?" "The federal investigation into quantum logistics, the one that was frozen 2 years ago." "What about it?" "It just got reopened. Full force. They're coming after everything." Min-jae's blood went cold. "How is that possible?" "I don't know, but whoever was protecting you, they stopped." Min-jae hung up, stared at his phone, at his wife's disconnected number, at the hospital card, at the wedding ring she'd left behind, and for the first time in years, Min-jae felt real fear. Min-jae went to Seoul National University Hospital Thursday morning, demanded to see Simone's doctor. The receptionist refused. "I'm sorry, sir. Patient information is confidential. I'm her husband. Do you have identification proving that?" He showed his ID marriage certificate he'd pulled from the safe. The receptionist made a call. 20 minutes later, a doctor appeared. Dr. Kim. Oncology department. Late 50s. Kind eyes. Currently looking at Min-jae like he was something disgusting. "You're Simone's husband?" "Yes, where is she?" "I can't tell you that." "She's my wife. She's my patient, and she requested no information be shared with you. Min-jae's jaw tightened. I need to know she's okay. Dr. Kim studied him. Do you? What? Need to know she's okay? Because for the last 8 months, you haven't asked once. The words hit like bullets. I didn't know. You didn't know your wife had cancer? You didn't know she was coming here 3 times a week for chemotherapy? You didn't notice she lost 30 pounds? That her hair fell out? That she could barely stand some days? Min-jae couldn't speak. Dr. Kim pulled out a tablet. Your wife has stage 3 cancer. Aggressive. She's been in treatment since March. He turned the tablet toward Min-jae. Medical photos. Simone, bald, thin, pale. Sitting in a chemo chair, IV in her arm, eyes closed, alone. Always alone. Treatment dates, dozens of them. Bills all paid by her. Not him. She came to every appointment alone, no support, no family, no husband. Doctor. Kim's voice was cold. Do you know what she told me once? She said, my husband is busy building an empire. I don't want to bother him with this. Min-jae felt sick. I asked her, doesn't he notice you're sick? She said, he notices I'm not pretty anymore. That's all that matters to him. The doctor closed the tablet. I've been an oncologist for 30 years. I've seen a lot of things. But watching that woman fight for her life while pretending everything was fine so she wouldn't burden you? He shook his head. That broke my heart. Min-jae's hands were shaking. Where is she now? I told you I can't. Please. His voice cracked. Please, I need to know she's alive. Dr. Kim looked at him for a long moment. She's alive. She's continuing treatment. And she's finally getting the support she deserves. From who? People who actually care about her. The doctor turned to leave. Wait. Dr. Kim stopped. The surgery. The card mentioned surgery. She needs it. Within the next 2 months. High risk. She'll need someone there during recovery. I'll be there. No, Dr. Kim's voice was final. You won't. She made that very clear. You're not allowed near her. Not anymore. He left. Min-jae stood there, in the hospital where his wife had spent months fighting alone, and finally understood what he'd done. He went home. Found Scarlett packing. What are you doing? Leaving. Your lawyer called. Said things are getting dangerous. Federal investigation. I don't need that drama. She zipped her Louis Vuitton suitcase. Besides, you're broke now, right? Without your wife's protection. She smiled. I was with you because you were powerful, untouchable. But now? She grabbed her bags. Now you're just another criminal about to go to prison. She left. And Min-jae was alone. Surrounded by the empire he'd built, the empire his wife had protected, the wife he'd thrown away for a woman who never loved him. Tell me in the comments, if you were in my place, would you ever forgive him after he chose another woman, while you were fighting for your life? Min-jae couldn't let it go. He went through Scarlett's things, the items she'd left behind in her hurry to escape. Found her phone, old one she'd forgotten in a drawer. He unlocked it. She'd never changed the password from the default. What he found made him physically ill. Messages to her friends. The wife is falling apart, LOL. Chemo is destroying her. Min-jae barely looks at her anymore. She asked me to tell him about her hospital appointment. I deleted the message. He doesn't need that negativity. She looked so pathetic today, bald head under that ugly scarf. I can't believe he was ever attracted to her. Min-jae just gave me 50,000 for shopping. His sick wife is in the other room and he doesn't even care. Men are so easy. More messages. Pages of them. Scarlett laughing about Simone's weight loss, making fun of her medication schedule, telling friends how she'd hidden hospital bills so Min-jae wouldn't see them. One message to Min-jae himself, from months ago, that he'd never received. Simone, Min-jae, I need you to come to the hospital tomorrow. The doctor wants to discuss surgery options. I'm scared. Please be there. I need you. Scarlett had intercepted it. Deleted it, blocked Simone's number from his phone without him knowing, replied from his phone, "I'm busy, handle it yourself." He never sent that. But Simone received it. Min-jae dropped the phone, ran to the bathroom, threw up. Everything Scarlett had done, all the ways she'd isolated Simone, hidden her illness, made sure Min-jae never knew, so she could take her place. He'd blamed Simone for being distant, depressed, boring, but Scarlett had orchestrated all of it, and he'd been too blind to see. The federal raid started Friday morning. 6 a.m., agents stormed Quantum Logistics headquarters, seized computers, files, servers, his office, his warehouses, his shipping containers, everything. Min-jae's lawyer called. They have everything. Bank records, offshore accounts, shell company documents, transaction histories going back 5 years. How? Someone gave them complete access. Someone who knew exactly where everything was. Min-jae knew. Simone. She'd been his lawyer, his partner, his wife. She'd structured every deal, every account, every legal protection. And now she'd given it all to the FBI. By Monday, his business partners were panicking. Investors pulled out, accounts frozen, assets seized, his sole office shut down, his shipping contracts cancelled. Everything he'd built for 10 years, collapsing in days. His men couldn't find Simone. Every lead went cold. No bank activity, no phone pings, no passport flags. It was like she'd disappeared completely. Then his lawyer called with worse news. "Sir, I know why the federal investigation was frozen 2 years ago." "Why?" "Senator Raymond Cross. He intervened directly. Made calls to the Justice Department. Buried evidence." Min-jae's blood ran cold. "Senator Cross? Your wife's father. He's been protecting you this entire time, using his political influence to keep you out of prison. And now? Now he's not. The investigation is moving full speed. They're building a RICO case, money laundering, trafficking, racketeering." Silence. "You're looking at 20 years minimum." Min-jae hung up, sat in his empty office, stared at the Seoul skyline. He'd married a senator's daughter, used her connections to build his empire, treated her like she was worthless. And now that empire was falling apart because the woman holding it together had walked away. His head of security entered. "Sir, we've exhausted every option. Your wife is gone. We can't find her." "Try harder." "Sir, with respect, I think she doesn't want to be found." He left. Min-jae sat there, alone, realizing the woman he'd ignored had been the most powerful person in his life, and he'd thrown her away for someone who'd abandoned him the second things got hard. Min-jae became obsessed. He stopped sleeping, stopped eating. Spent 18 hours a day searching for Simone. Private investigators, international trackers, hackers. Nothing worked. She'd vanished completely. He flew to Washington, D.C., waited outside Senator Cross's office building. Security stopped him at the entrance. "I need to see Senator Cross." "Do you have an appointment?" "No, but..." "Then you can't enter. It's about his daughter, my wife." "Simone?" The security guard's expression hardened. "Sir, the senator has made it very clear, you are not welcome here. I just need 5 minutes. If you don't leave, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Min-jae stood there. Powerful men had feared him for years. Now a security guard was threatening him. He left. Went to every hospital in the D.C. area. Oncology departments. Cancer treatment centers. Private clinics. No record of Simone Cross. Or Simone Kang. She'd been erased. Or hidden. Protected by people with more power than him. He returned to Seoul. Sat in the empty penthouse. Staring at her wedding ring. The hospital card. A scarf she'd left behind. He picked up the scarf, pressed it to his face. It still smelled like her. Like the jasmine perfume she used to wear, before the cancer, before the chemo, before he'd destroyed everything. He had men who could find enemies across countries, networks in 12 nations, resources most people couldn't imagine. but he couldn't find the wife he'd ignored inside his own home, because she didn't want to be found. And the people protecting her had the kind of power that money couldn't touch, political power, legal power, the kind that made dangerous men disappear. And Min-jae finally understood. He'd never had the power. She did. She always had. I was at my father's estate in Virginia, 200 acres of protected land, security gates, private doctors, peace. My father sat with me during chemo sessions, held my hand when the nausea got bad, helped me to the bathroom when I was too weak to walk. Everything Min-jae should have done. "You're stronger than he ever deserved," my father said one afternoon. We were in the garden, me in a wheelchair, too tired to walk. "I know. Do you want me to destroy him completely? I can. One phone call." I thought about it. No. No. Watching him lose everything he built is enough. I don't need revenge, I just need peace. My father smiled, proud. That's my daughter. The treatment continued. The best oncologists money could buy. Experimental treatments, clinical trials. My father spared no expense. I started painting again, reading, walking in the garden when I was strong enough. Small things. But they felt like life, real life. Not the half-life I'd been living in soul, pretending I was fine while dying inside. Min-jae called my father's office 63 times. Left voicemails, sent letters, flowers, gifts. My father's assistant screened everything. "What should I do with these?" she asked. "Burn them," I said. She did. I didn't read the letters, didn't listen to the voicemails, didn't open the gifts. His regret didn't erase what he did. It didn't erase the nights I cried alone in the hospital. The appointments I went to by myself, the fear I carried alone, the humiliation of watching him choose someone else while I was dying. No amount of sorry could fix that. 6 months after I left, Min-jae got through. My father's assistant made a mistake. Put him through on a call meant for someone else. "Simone, please." I listened, said nothing. "I'm sorry. I was blind, selfish, cruel. I threw away the only woman who ever truly loved me." Silence. "Please come home. I'll fix everything. I'll be there for the surgery. I'll take care of you. I'll spend the rest of my life proving—" I hung up. My father looked at me. "Do you want to talk to him?" "No." "Good." The gifts kept coming. Jewelry, flowers, handwritten letters. All of it went into the fire, unread, unopened, unwanted. His regret was too late, and too small to matter. 8 months after I left, I agreed to meet him. Not because I wanted to, because my lawyer said we needed to finalize the divorce. A cafe in Georgetown. Neutral ground, public, safe. I walked in, hair growing back, short pixie cut. Healthier than I'd been in a year. The surgery had gone well, treatment was working. I was surviving. Min-jae was already there. I almost didn't recognize him. He'd lost weight. His suit hung loose, dark circles under his eyes. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in months. He looked like I used to look when I was dying and he didn't notice. He stood when he saw me. "Simone." "Min-jae." I sat, calm, controlled. He stared. "You look better." "I am better." He sat, hands shaking. "I'm sorry for everything. I was blind. I didn't see what I had. I didn't see you suffering." "No, you didn't. I was focused on the wrong things. Power, image, status. I thought, you thought I was disposable." He flinched. "I thought Scarlett was what I needed. Someone vibrant, exciting, not dying." "I'm sorry." I nodded, waited. "I want you back. I'll do anything. I'll be there for you. I'm not coming back." His eyes filled with tears. "Simone." "I was dying, Min-jae. Actually dying, and you chose her. You let her move into our home. You let her throw away my things. You gave her unlimited money while cutting my credit card." I leaned forward. "Do you know what that did to me? Fighting cancer while watching you fall in love with someone else." "I wasn't." "You were. You looked at her the way you used to look at me. You smiled at her, laughed with her, touched her. Tears fell. Mine, not his. While I was losing my hair in a hospital bathroom, you were buying her jewelry. While I was throwing up from chemo, you were taking her to dinners. While I was wondering if I'd survive, you were wondering how fast you could replace me. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix this. Silence. Heavy. Painful. I don't need your apologies, Min-jae. Then what do you need? Nothing from you. I stood. I'm filing for divorce. My lawyer will send the papers. Don't contest it. Simone, please. I survived cancer. I survived betrayal. I survived losing everything I thought I needed. I looked at him. I don't need you anymore. I walked away, left him sitting there. Finally understanding what he'd lost, Scarlett tried to sell her story. Tabloids, online magazines, anyone who would listen. I was the real victim. He used me to make his sick wife jealous. No one believed her. The texts leaked. Her cruel messages. Her manipulation. Her lies. The public destroyed her. Social media tore her apart. She lost modelling contracts, brand deals, her reputation. No one wanted to be associated with the woman who'd mocked a cancer patient. She tried to apologise, posted a tearful video. I was young. I made mistakes. I'm sorry. The comments were brutal. You smiled while she was dying. You hid her hospital bills. You don't deserve forgiveness. She deleted everything, disappeared from public life. I didn't celebrate. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt free, free from the weight of hating her, free from the need for revenge. She destroyed herself. I didn't have to do anything. Min-jae tried one last time. 6 months after the divorce was finalised, he showed up at my father's estate, got past the gate somehow, found me in the garden. I was painting. Watercolours of the cherry blossoms. Simone. I looked up. He was thinner, older, broken. You're not supposed to be here. I know, but I needed to see you. One more time. I set down my brush. Why? To tell you I'll spend the rest of my life regretting what I did. To tell you I finally understand. You were everything, and I threw you away. I stood. You're right. You did. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought. Maybe someday, when it doesn't hurt anymore, when I can think about those months without feeling the pain. Maybe then. But not now. No, not now. He nodded, accepted it. Are you happy? I'm healing. Good. That's good. He turned to leave, stopped. For what it's worth, Simone, you were the best thing in my life, and I was too stupid to see it until you were gone. He left. I watched him go, felt nothing. No anger, no love, no hate, just peace. I survived cancer, I survived him. I rebuilt myself piece by piece. Started a foundation for cancer patients who couldn't afford treatment. Used my father's connections for good. Helped women who were fighting alone. Like I had. 5 years later, I'm healthy, cancer-free, living on my own terms. Min-jae went to prison. 3 years for money laundering. Got out early for good behaviour. Last I heard, he's in Seoul. Running a small legitimate business, trying to rebuild. He tried to contact me once after his release. One letter. I read it. It said, I finally learned what real love looks like. It looks like you fighting for your life while still protecting mine. I'm sorry it took losing you to understand that. I folded it, put it in a drawer, didn't respond. Some men only recognize a woman's worth after their cruelty teaches her how to live without them. Min-jae was one of those men, and I was the woman who learned she didn't need his recognition to know her worth. If you believe Simone was right to choose peace over a man who only loved her after losing her, subscribe now. And comment, team her with your country. I want to see how many people around the world stand with her. More powerful stories are coming. And the next one will break you even more. He finally loved me when I no longer needed his love to survive.